everybody, welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to do part 3 in our Damascus knife series. I ran out of abrasives, so I ordered some new belts and that, and they came in, and I had to work all week. But we've got some new belts. I got some dust masks. I ran out of those a while back. Shouldn't be out here grinding without a dust mask on. It's very bad for you, all that crap that gets in the air. So it's a beautiful day today, but we're expecting a huge storm to come in. From the sounds of it, I'm going to get about another 6 or 8 inches of snow at my house again, and the warm winds and that have pretty much blown most of it away, but you know, melted it. But oh well, such is life. It's still winter, right? So yeah, we're going to work on this today. I want to work on getting most of these rough grinds done. All we've done is annealed this knife so far, make it easier to grind and straighten up all the molecules. So we're going to get the rest of the rough grinding done and get the sides of the tang nice and even, so that we can fit our scales on it. I want to work on I want to put an aluminum bolster up here, I think, and put an aluminum piece back here on the pommel end. And then we'll fill in the center of this with some nice wood, or maybe some micarta, maybe a combination of the two. I haven't really decided yet. But yeah. So this is exactly like it was when we left off in our last video. So well, look at that pattern. That's pretty, isn't it? That pattern came out real nice. So I'm quite pleased with the pattern. And but anyway, let's get to grinding on this thing, and let's see if we can't get her closer to the finish line. Let's get to work. Stop for a minute, take a little break and clean the shop out, and I just wanted to show you. Now there's a few little bits of sandpaper and some broken glass from a container that I dropped in here the other day, but the 95% of that pile of garbage right there is grinder dust, and I threw that old dirty face mask, a dust mask, down there as a kind of a size reference to how big a pile of grinder dust that is. That's why you want to wear a dust mask all the time, because You know, that's, oh, there's metal shavings in there, there's aluminum oxide from belts. There's just all matter of nastiness in there. And especially if you're working in a place like I am, you know, where you don't have a ton of ventilation. It's cold in here in the wintertime. I mean, this is just my garage. As you can see, it's just a 2-car garage that I work out of. And when I run the forge, I open this garage door up, oh, you know, 2 or 3 inches, and I slide that window open over there, half an inch or so. It allows for enough airflow through here and enough ventilation that I'm not going to asphyxiate myself by running the forge, but yet, you know, it'll stay warm enough in here that it doesn't drive me out of the shop in the wintertime. But now when I'm not running the forge, that garage door pretty much stays shut. It's a nice day today. Plus I've been cleaning and blowing off benches and toolboxes and everything else, so I've got it opened up nicely and been wearing a dust mask because I'm blowing that crud all over in here, you know, but that stuff builds up so bad, all that fine particulate matter, you know, from grinding. Whether you're using a grinder, you know, a 4.5-inch grinder with a grinding wheel on it, or the flap disc, or the belt grinder, I don't care what it is, you produce a lot of grinder dust, and so it's good to clean it out. But you know, especially in the wintertime. Now see, today is an exceptionally nice day, but we're supposed to have another big storm come in here, and if I'm not running the forge, if I'm just out here working on handle scales or finish grinds on a knife or something, I don't really ventilate the place that much because I don't want to freeze to death. So it's very important that you wear that mask, you know, some type of mask, even if it's just these little dust masks like I have. I want to get a respirator. I haven't gotten around to it yet. I mean, work has been real slow this year. I'm behind on my bills and stuff, so. But that's going to be a purchase in the near future when I get things caught up. I'm going to get an actual respirator. The dust mask, though, surprisingly enough, keeps most of it out, because I've done a little grinding here lately because I was out of dust masks. And when I blow my nose, you know, it's just black. And that's the crap that you're breathing in, so I really don't recommend it. If it's just a little white dust mask like that one laying over there by that pile of grinder dust, you know, they've got that metal deal that you can bend it around your nose and make sure that it fits you properly, and it probably keeps, you know, 80-90% of it out. I mean, I've had to blow my nose a couple of times today while I was cleaning in here and grinding and what have you, and it's not all full of black crap. So just even these white dust masks work really well, you know, compared to not using one. So just a little, I just wanted to remind people, you've probably seen me in a couple of videos where I wasn't wearing a mask or anything, and I don't generally do that. I was just out, and you know, the show must go on. I'm that kind of guy. So anyway, wear your dust mask and keep all that crud out of your lungs. I mean, whatever you do, that's just terrible. And safety glasses too. I wear regular prescription glasses, and I can't see well enough to, like, grinding bevels or whatever. I can't see what I'm doing if I put on safety glasses. But I do wear my glasses, and I try to keep my head. I don't hang right over the grinder staring straight down at the belt. I stay off to the side so it's not flinging stuff. Not because I'm worried so much about anything getting in my eyes. I just don't want, you know, hot grinder shavings sticking to my glasses and ruining them. But it's kind of a problem. I'm trying to I'm thinking about getting a face shield. You know, just one of those big face shields that you can wear. That way I can still wear my glasses and get right over the grinder and see what I'm doing. But safety is always very important in your shop. Sometimes I get a little ahead of myself, and like when I didn't have masks, I shouldn't have been in here grinding and what have you without dust masks. I just shouldn't have been. But I want to get the job done, and I get ahead of myself, and I go ahead and do it. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, you know, safety is very important. Wear gloves, wear your safety glasses, wear a mask of some kind when you're grinding and stirring up dust and, you know, grinding rusty pieces of metal off, getting ready to forge them or whatever. What I'm trying to say is don't do as I do as I say. Like my parents used to tell me. So anyway, just a quick side note on safety for your, you know, just for your health benefits. I mean, I really try to be as safe as I can. I wear my welding bib so I don't light myself on fire when I'm grinding. I usually wear gloves when applicable. You know, if I'm handling a lot of hot steel and what have you, I'll have, generally you'll see me when I'm forging, I'll usually have at least one glove on, my left hand, when I pull the steel in and out of the forge and what have you. I have a hard time with a glove on my hammer hand because it wants to slip. You know, the handle wants to slip around in my hand with the glove on. So I don't really wear a glove on my hammer hand. But then that's another thing. A piece of slag one time jumped up here and got right in here, man. I mean, right in where your thumb bends, right here. And a hot enough piece of slag just melts instantly to your skin. And I had a hell of a burn in there. It took a while to go away, and it hurt like hell every time I tried to work. So again, it's, you know, your choice, but you know, I have safety glasses in here. I have welding hoods, welding shields. You know, just try to be safe. And whatever you do, don't breathe that crap, because I'm sure when I blow my nose and I see what just comes out of my nose, I can only imagine what's in my lungs. And I'll find myself coughing and hacking for a day or two after I grind without my safety glasses. So wear your safety or your dust mask at least. Respirator's better, but at least wear a dust mask. So, all right, let's get back to it. Well, guys, kind of a short one here today. I kept having to run some errands, and I had to stop in the middle of the whole show and clean this shop. I mean, I had, well, you saw earlier in the clip that I showed you, I mean, the bench here was just covered in grinder dust. The floor, I mean, I was crunching and sliding on grinder dust and everywhere. So I had to stop in the middle of the whole show. I just couldn't take it anymore. I had tools scattered all over. You know, you can only make so big a mess before you have to clean it up. So I took a break in the middle of everything and cleaned this whole shop out real nice and got everything cleaned up again and back in order. But we got most of our rough grinding done on our knife here. Of course, you can't see the pattern anymore because I ground all that off where we etched it. But kind of like the shape of the tang that we've got going on here. It's you know, these finger grooves that I grooved into here, they fit just right. They feel real good. I mean, the knife feels really good in my hand. Don't know if I mentioned or not, but I'm making this for my buddy Scott. So we didn't get to our bolsters, but again, you know, there's a whole lot more grinding and shaping and what have you that goes on that you don't see behind the scenes because I can't record it all. I cut out these two billets of aluminum today. These are going to be what we make our aluminum bolster up here out of. And I'm going to put a piece of aluminum back here on the tail of the tang. You know, just more or less for looks, just to do something different. So so we'll have that. We'll work on this some more tomorrow. But I wanted to get all this shaping done. We've got our tang all smoothed up now. The whole knife is real smooth. We're ready now to start working on our handle scales. You know, when a person just does a knife doing stock removal, you know, your stock is already perfectly flat. It's ready to go. All you have to do is kind of shape it the way you want it, grind your bevels in, and throw your scales on, you know, and you're good to go. But when you hand forge a knife with a hammer on that anvil, you get it as close as you can, but I'm telling you, if you can get it perfectly flat without having to do a bunch of grinding and that, you're a heck of a lot better blacksmith than I am, because no matter how I try really hard to get my thicknesses right. And again, I'll leave it a little heavier than I actually want it, just for that reason, just so I can save myself some room to work with the grinder, because I know it's not going to be flat, you know, coming off of the anvil. So we need room to take some of that meat off of there with hammer marks and what have you. And anyway, here's where we got to today. I really am happy with the shape of the knife. We've got our profile shaped up here real well. It's going to be a nice knife. It's going to be a good looking knife, and it's still going to be, you know, a pretty meaty knife. If you've watched my videos, you know I like to make a pretty heavy knife. I don't like a real thin blade. You know, if you're out camping or whatever it is that you're doing, and your blade breaks on you or something, then you know you're without your knife. You may have a little piece of the knife left. You know, say your blade breaks off in the middle, you may have this portion here that you can still use or something, but you know, I just don't want my blades to break, and I don't want somebody who gets one of my knives to have a blade break. So I like to make a good hefty knife, and people seem to like them. So yeah, these little finger grooves that I did in this handle, in this tang, they fit your fingers. I mean, that's very comfortable. It feels really good. Once we get some scales on this thing, it's going to be awesome. So thanks for joining me today. Sorry we didn't get more done, but tomorrow's another day, and we will be back out here in the shop mañana, and we'll be working on these little aluminum billets that I've got cut out here, so that we can get our bolsters done and get these pieces put back here on the pommel. And we're in the home stretch, kinda. I still got to grind these bevels, but I want to figure out where we're going to put our aluminum here and where it's going to come to, and that'll dictate where I start to grind my bevels in and all that. So first thing tomorrow, I believe what we'll be doing is sizing up this bolster up here and what have you, and we're going to have to drill it and pin it where it's going to go and kind of get all that squared away before I can grind my bevels, because I want this to come, you know, I want it to come in front of this finger groove here. So I want it to be, you know, it doesn't have to be a lot, but I want it to be ahead of there a little bit. So and then we'll start our bevels pretty close. You know, wherever this ends is where our bevels are going to begin, I think, is how we're going to do that. So stick around. We'll put up another video tomorrow, and we'll try to get this thing finished up here sometime in the near future. I don't want to make a whole bunch of videos, you know, but on the other hand, when you're kind of limited for time, I did have to work today. I got off early, came home. It was such a nice day. You know, came out here, started working on the knife, realized I can't deal with this mess in my shop anymore, so I fired up the compressor and we blew everything off and blew all the, I mean, you know, that grinder dust goes everywhere. It's up on top of the drill press, the bandsaw, it's all over the washer and dryer, the beer fridge, this bench over here, everything gets covered in that dust, the toolboxes. I probably spent, it's a good thing I had those dust masks. I had the door all the way open and this window open, so, and we had a nice breeze clipping through here today, kind of helped. So blew all this crap out of here and swept and cleaned everything up, got all the forge slag off of my anvil stump there, got everything out the door, blew off the old Harley. It was, that poor thing was covered in slag and grinder dust and what have you. So we got a nice clean area to work again, and that's nice. And we'll be back tomorrow and finish. Well, we probably won't finish it tomorrow. I'd like to try to get it finished this weekend because I need to make another knife. In that last knife video, the chopper video we made, I can't sell that knife to my buddy Bob. The more I looked at it, I just don't like the handle on it. I ground it too thin up by the up towards the ricasso and that, and it's just it's a nice heavy knife, and I don't think it would ever break or anything like that. That's not a problem. I mean, you could chop down a tree with that knife. It's sharpened up really well. But that handle just looks like a kitchen knife. So I got a hold of Bob, told him hang on to his money for a little while. I'm going to make him a better knife. So we're going to make him one about the same as this, maybe a little bigger. It won't be a Damascus. Damascus is just a royal pain to do. I mean, it really is. I love the look of a Damascus knife when it's done. But it's so much work, forge welding the billet, trying to make sure that you don't have any cold shuts or inclusions, and then this one, we put that twist on it, makes it even more of a pain, you know. So there's so much more labor intensive when you make a Damascus knife that they're beautiful, I love them, but for the amount of time I put into one, you know, by the time I'm done, I either have to price it so high that nobody wants to buy it, or you know, eat it. You know what I mean? Eat all that time and effort that you put into one of those. So I won't be doing a whole lot of those. And Bob just wants a good knife that he can take out and use. So we're going to make him a better knife. After we finish this one up, we're going to make one similar, maybe a little bit bigger than this one. That's another problem you run into when you do Damascus. Especially with the twist, you're going to lose some on the ends where you twisted it, and you always lose some back here on the pommel part of the tang, because that's where you have your handle welded on, or I do. I just find it much easier to deal with a piece of rebar welded on there than fumbling with tongs all the time. So anyway, appreciate you watching. Oh, by the way, I'm going to play the guitar a little bit on this video where I fast forward some of that grinder work and what have you. So I hope you enjoy it, and appreciate you watching. I'll see you on the next one.